What's happening? Tony Chance here from Blackflix and Chill. I'm going to give you a Creed 3 review and explain the ending to you. Let's get into it.
That's Blackflix and Chill, yeah. That's Blackflix and Chill.
What's going on? Welcome back to Blackflix and Chill, where we bring you all things black movies and series. I just got back from seeing Creed 3, literally just now, fresh from the cinema, and I want to jump straight on here and give you my take on the movie, what I liked about it, what I didn't really like about it, and kind of explain the ending to you, and also share why I feel like Rocky was missing from it, because he weren't in this movie, and let's talk about it. Anyway, I'll give you first of all, I'll jump into it and I'll start with a little breakdown of what the movie's about. Before we get started, just be aware there's going to be spoilers throughout this, so if you haven't seen it and you're planning on seeing it, then maybe pause, come back to this later and watch it later. But anyway, the movie starts off like back in the days when Adonis, played by Michael B. Jordan, is younger, and he's rolling with his friend back then, and they're going to like these underground boxing events, and the youngsters are sneaking in, but his bedroom is like an amateur boxer, and he's really good, and they're rolling. His friend wins the fight, and then they're out about just rolling, and they're really close and tight. From the story that we hear, they've spent a lot of time growing up together, living together as youngsters, on like a bit of a hard come up before Adonis kind of gets adopted by his soon-to-be mother, Apollo Creed's ex-wife. Anyway, they're rolling. They go to get some food after the fight. The boy is called Damian. He drops him some change, saying, "Look, I've got you. We're in this together," type of thing. Like the proper, like you can see the proper like ride or die veterans. Anyway, they go to get this food, and then Adonis sees one guy from his past that what we later learn in the movie used to basically rough him up and like just trouble him and Damian when he was in some care home. Anyway, he starts to beat him up bad, taking out all this frustration on him, and then the guy gets saved. This guy called Leon gets saved by his boys that he's with, and start to rush Adonis. And then whilst he's getting rushed, all of a sudden Damian gets out the car with a gun and then holds it to order them to back his boy. Anyway, whilst he's holding the gun, the police turn up, and then everyone scatters, and then we kind of picks up later on. We don't really know what happened in that instance, but anyway, fast forwards about 15 years, and you see Adonis wrapping up his career, having his final fight. He wins the belt of Tony Bellew, and it's just showing the end, and he kind of retires. And you see that he's living good now. He's rich. He's got his wife. He's got his family. They're living in LA in the hills. Got a nice yard. Everything's blessed for them. Looks like things is good. Then he's got a gym that he's working at, him and Little Duke, and they're like training up the next up and coming heavyweights. Anyway, outside the gym, he sees some guy resting up on his car, and it's his bedroom from back in the day that he didn't recognise at first, Damian. He's just got out of prison. He's been in prison for 15 years. We learned it's now been 3 years later since he kind of had his last fight, so it's been 18 years. He's been in prison for 18 years. Anyway, they kind of catch up and chop it up, and we kind of catch the vibe that, you know, he's been away for 15 years off the back of that incident, or 18 years, and they haven't spoken since it happened. So you start to kind of catch a vibe of that. Why is Adonis not checked for him? Why is he not? Why only now is he seeing him and hearing from him? Anyway, later learned that whilst he was in prison, kind of Adonis kind of just turned his back on him, and he was writing him letters, but Adonis's mum wasn't giving him the letters. Plus, he wasn't even making any effort himself. So he's kind of going kind of bad mind, and the guy's kind of taking it kind of well, but you can see there's a bit of dark, deep down bitterness about it, which I understand, because if I don't know how your big time long term bedrooms is doing something for you, like having your back, you take the rap for it, and then you're just moving on with your life, going clear and not looking back. So yeah, I kind of felt away for that, and it's like, you know, Adonis he's the protagonist, he's the hero of the show, and you generally when you watch these movies you're rooting for him, but this, I weren't rooting for him. When I watched the trailer, it's the one good thing I thought about the trailer, because I thought usually the trailers give away a lot about a movie, and I thought this one did the same thing. But what the trailer did was make it seem like some guy from his past is just on a wild thing and just wants to create havoc, when actually there's a deeper story to it, and it's like this guy from his past took the rap for something, and basically his good bedroom has turned his back on him, and he's now fending for himself. Anyway, this guy wants to get back in the game. He always had aspirations to be a heavyweight boxer, so he's on Adonis to try and give him opportunity. One thing leads to another. Eventually, he gets his opportunity to fight one of the Adonis's heavyweight guys for the belt. Wins the fight convincingly, and then Adonis is kind of hit up. Everyone's a bit hit up. Anyway, what we learn is that he was kind of playing Adonis to get the fight, because actually he is really bitter. He was going like he's a bit cool about it, but he's really bitter. He's not happy, and he just wants to make up for lost time. Which I understand. Like the movies, he is the antagonist, and he's meant to be the bad guy, the villain of the movie. But actually, it's deep rooted in some real trauma, and they done it well. Like, I was really enjoying the first start and a half of a movie, because it was like it built up the story really well, where I actually was vested and kind of like was questioning Adonis and his actions. And then what I struggled with in the movie is that I feel like I questioned him more than the people in the movie. So his little Duke, his wife, when they learned about what had happened in the past, they didn't really hold him accountable for it, and they weren't sweating him about it, and kind of just allowed him to remain the hero in the story. And I was like, for this is where I feel like it's falling short a bit, because we should be unpacking this a bit more, and unpacking how, you know, the actions of your past affect your future, and how you have to then be accountable for what you've done, and they kind of let it slide, which I didn't really gel with for me. Anyway, one thing leads to another, and these guys end up having to have a fight. And this is where I feel like the movie fell apart a bit for me, because he calls him out for the fight, but usually when there's a Rocky movie, there's a real drive, there's a motivation, there's something like really burning that triggers like the revenge, the redemption. And this kind of just felt a bit wash. Like he wanted to challenge him for a fight. He wanted to kind of, I don't know, get the belt back. I don't know what it was, but it just didn't feel like an authentic, true reason for him to be so motivated to come out of retirement and to put himself through something. It just didn't feel real. So I kind of felt a bit flat there. And then when he was training, what did feel real is that he was training, and he was like an old man. He had not old man, but older man, and therefore he's out of shape. He's finding this training hard, and he's getting beaten up and brocked up in the sparring sessions. But then all of a sudden he like has this flash, and he all of a sudden turns into like a warrior again. And I was like, I don't see what's happened. And there's a gap in the story that you haven't developed enough. That why all of a sudden, that what's triggered it? Is it something that is because his mum's just died? Is it something that his mum said before he passed? Is it some dying oath that that he has to honor? Is it something that his daughter has done, or is it some dread dirt that Damian has done, or based on all the bad mouthing Damian's been doing, everyone's turned his back on him and he needs to reprove? Like it wasn't fleshed out enough. So it's like now he's just driven, he's motivated, he's doing his classic Rocky training, pulling airplanes and all that. But it's like, where's this come from? Where's the real motivation? So I felt like it was missing there. Anyway, they get to the final fight and they have this big brawl. And again, I feel like this is again a bit more of the same, where you're fighting, but I'm not even rooting for you, bruv, because this guy, you turned your back on him, and I feel like you haven't paid for your sins yet, or you haven't held your hand up and held yourself accountable to it. So we're watching this. You actually win the fight, and it doesn't feel like a triumph. They tried to play the classic Rocky music as he wins the fight, and it's like, this isn't triumphant, because no one really cares, no one's rating you. So yeah, I found that a bit awkward, and the filming of that scene was a bit weird as well. They got rid of the crowd, the fighting in some empty. It's like trying to be a bit, atmospheric and dramatic. So I didn't really feel that. But I was really enjoying the movie. This is my conflict with this movie, is that I was actually really enjoying the majority of it, like from start up until late middle, and then it just fell flat on kind of building the essence of why we should care. And I'm really into characters. I'm really into character development, and I feel like they had opportunities where they could have developed the beef. They could have, when he called out the fight, they could have developed, the rift these two had, and the results and the outcomes and how that triggers them to do whatever in the fight and how they deal with it afterwards, and just felt like they didn't do it right. Anyway, they did address it in the end. They had a little chat in the locker room and kind of squashed the beef and, you know, took accountability and stuff like that. But I feel like now the movie's finished now. That this feels a bit meaningless and nothing. So yeah, a little bit disappointed because I was really enjoying the film. And you know, I'm a fan of boxing, I'm a fan of Rocky, I'm a fan of the Creed series, and I was really enjoying this film. It's like, it filmed well, acting well. Jonathan Majors plays the part so well. He's like, carries the movie because he's just playing the role really well. Soundtrack was sick. I was really enjoying the music that was playing throughout the thing. I was just enjoying it, and then when it came to the meaningful stuff, I feel like it didn't really hit the mark. So a little bit disappointed there. But why Rocky wasn't it? So I'm not sure. There's news about Rocky didn't want anything to do with this. He had some beef and he didn't want nothing to do with the movie, and he said he won't be involved in it in any shape or form. And I feel like it needed him because at points there was no wisdom. It felt like Creed needed to be getting some, like, you know, that's what you have in Rocky movies. Someone from your corner that is meaningful, or Rocky is giving you that wisdom and that reason, and, you know, that message of, you know, why we fight and why we must fight on and why we must overcome our challenges. And I just feel like that was missing from this movie, and that's the role Rocky plays in these movies. Yeah, it's like a classic thread in all the Rocky movies where there's this voice who helps you to unlock that inner beast, that inner champion. And I feel like that was missing, and we needed Rocky. We needed Sylvester Stallone to come and be that guy. So yeah, I feel like Rocky was missed. The movie was good, but Rocky was missed. The ending could have been better. But I still enjoyed it. And I think the actors played well. Everyone acted well in the movie, and it was shot really nice and well. I just felt like, yeah, I know it was only a Rocky's little action movie, but I felt like I needed that. I needed these little details. Okay, so review time. Watch it, background TV, or pass. It's definitely still a watch it. I know I said there's some issues and some flaws that it fell short on, but it's a good movie all in all. There's a good story. Started, it just didn't finish as strong, and it's a Creed movie, it's a Rocky franchise movie, so definitely watch it and let me know what you think. Have you seen it? Let me know in the comments how you felt. Did you feel like the performances were good? Do you feel like do you agree with me that it was a bit flat, and do you feel like Rocky was missed? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you got to say. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.
Let's block, fix, and chill, yeah. Let's block, fix, and chill.